I definitely saw you talk about quarterbacks under the most pressure entering the 2022 season. I want you to tell me why you chose Dak Prescott as number one atop your list, Dan.
I mean, it's go time. You know, we all know what the narrative is, and it's a fair one and an accurate one. When you pay the quarterback a bunch of money, what happens to the rest of your roster, the stress that it puts on the rest of your roster, and, you know, the ability to build that. I also started thinking of the last quarterbacks that basically within a year of them getting their big contract extension, what they did with it. You know, Patrick went to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen basically played one of the greatest quarterback games we've ever seen of last year's playoffs. And so now Dak Prescott has been like the last quarterback that got his big money, that we're sitting here as a young player or still youngish player and saying, okay, now it's time to pay it off and prove that was the right investment. We see it didn't work out in Philadelphia with Carson Wentz. And I just think that this roster has been slowly picked off a little bit since that contract. And this is a team that plays in, you know, a non-elite division in a non-elite conference. And I've said this before, I'm not being a jerk, it's the truth. Name me the last time you can remember Dak Prescott carrying the Cowboys or being the reason the Cowboys won a game versus a good opponent.
I guess they didn't win against the Bucs last year in Week 1, but him coming back, I see what you're saying, and I was very disappointed with their playoff performance this past year. Highly,
right.
And being a Cowboy quarterback is always one of the most pressure situation. And I saw the rest of your list as well, Dan. You know, where 3, 4, 5 are young quarterbacks who I think need to prove their worth now while they're being evaluated now. I think Zach Wilson still has a gig. 4th is Jalen Hurts on your list. I think he is definitely in a do or die year. And you could say Tua. I think that's a perfect number 3 as well, because of the way that Miami has totally remade itself. Your number 2 answer, not to go first take on you, but I got to push back. Why do you think Aaron Rodgers has any pressure at all? I don't think he's under pressure at all. Why do you put him 2 on this list, Dan? Why?
Because it would be absolutely one of the most indescribable or inexplainable things that if Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay with just a single Super Bowl, and I am not the person who measures quarterbacks by Super Bowls and like they're good or bad, but I know I played against this dude like 15 times, and I know what I watched, and I know the talent that I saw, and it would be very difficult for me to understand how, if he only wins one, that was the case. With the stability that they've had, with the amount of talent that they have had, to not be, and he didn't play good last year in the playoffs. And, you know, that was a team that really had a lot of makings of being a Super Bowl champion. And, you know, the 18 months long of I don't want to be in Green Bay, or I'm upset about what's going on in Green Bay, and now the relationship's gotten better. I'm going to stay in Green Bay, even though they took a quarterback in the first round 3 years ago. Yeah, I think that this is like, I believe he's under the most pressure he's ever been under. Not financially, but just far as climbing the mountain, reaching the ultimate top. You know, I think that this is probably the most pressure he's ever felt when it comes to accomplishing that goal.
I don't know. I just think the guy doesn't feel it. I just don't think he feels it or senses it, and that if he does finish with one Super Bowl, he'll still show up as a first ballot Hall of Famer in that gold jacket the rest of his career, and people will still be talking about him the same way that you did, which is one of the most incredibly talented guys to ever play. And, you know, Marino seems to be able to stand tall without any of those rings as he shows up to Canton every year. That's my, I don't know, that would be my pushback on that, and that we could choose another guy to throw in it too overall.
I don't all this. Like last year, we had the same question, and I said unequivocally it was Matthew Stafford. that I think that if Matthew Stafford won or did not win the Super Bowl last year, his life as a human at 45 or 50 years old was going to be any different? No. Do I think that same case for Aaron Rodgers? I do. I don't think his life, whether he wins a Super Bowl in the next year or two, as far as a human or a personal thing, at 45 or 50 is going to be any different. I don't think it's going to be any different. But these guys are the cream of the crop, the most competitive, maniacal, driven human beings on planet Earth. And I know, I'm putting words in his mouth, I know that dude wants to win another one. I know it, because there's no way that he accomplishes what he accomplishes if he's not obsessed trying to chase that down and trying to go do it another time. And I can't imagine that he's not expecting, I got to go get it done. He's even hinted at it in press conferences a little bit, hey, we got to find a way to get it done.
Well, because I'm a guy that doesn't just push back and then not make a suggestion, I would remove Rodgers from that list and put Russell Wilson right there. I mean, Denver thinks that they're ready to roll now, and that he's the missing ingredient, that he's a much younger version of Peyton Manning, and by that I mean for a guy that comes with a ring to town to finish up their career on a high note. That's what I mean, not skill set, and obviously not all-time GOAT level. That's where I mean. I'd put Russell there because everybody's going to be looking at him and saying, it's go time now. Thanks for coming, and we'll see what he looks like.
Yeah. So I actually gave Get Up, I think 7 or 8 names. Russell was on there. Okay. Tannehill was on there.
Sure.
I've kind of phrased the Russell Wilson situation as this. I think it's a must-win window, not a must-win season.
Got it.
I absolutely agree that he has to go win a Super Bowl in Denver for not only what they gave up to get him, but how good of a team they are. I mean, this is a relatively – and I don't think he's ever had the situation he's in now where elite offensive system, which Nathaniel Hackett is bringing over, and elite skill position talent. I mean, he's got a lot of weapons there. So I would agree. I just don't believe it is a must-win season for Russell. I think it's a must-win tenure.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.